Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't we take a look at the beginning of the first movement of Beethoven's Second Symphony, and let's see what kind of challenges a conductor has to face with there. What factors will tell us what to do with our hands? Number one, we see that he calls for 3/4 pattern. He says adagio molto. So number one factor challenge is the tempo. How we will find the right tempo. The playability of these 30 seconds will tell us. Daga, 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 diggy, diggy, diggy. That is the tempo. We already got it from the music Beethoven tells us. After tempo contrast, here is a fermata, which is an out of tempo note, and we have an a tempo from the chamber music. We have articulation contrasts because the heavy downbeats are calling for heavy kind of marcatos, and we have sforzatos that call for focal conducting. We have this beautiful chamber music contrasting legato material imitated, transferred to the strings that calls for horizontal conducting, and we have this nice staccato down moving little fragment that calls for vertical conducting. What I'm talking about. One is the focal conducting that you have to bring the downbeat ictus to the focus of your body, while the other will be a horizontal music, the legato, and the staccato will be the short notes. But before we go a little bit deeper to that, why don't we listen to the music, how Beethoven probably played it for himself on the piano at home before he orchestrated it, and this is how it might sound. And we got the tempo. So, how can we do this focal, horizontal, and vertical conducting? Because of the tempo, and because Beethoven says 3/4 is the pattern that we use, but because of the tempo, we have to use the subdivided 3/4. How can we adjust that? When the heavy music is coming in the focus of your body, you give a downbeat in the center with both hands focusing to one point, not two, one point that will project the one to the entire orchestra, so it will be in the focus of the orchestra's attention and focus of your body. The horizontal conducting, the legato characteristics based on the different articulation, when you adjust the pattern, stretching the ictus on the horizontal line, because first time it's on the woodwinds, you bring it a little bit higher and you show on the horizontal line. When the vertical conducting is coming on the staccato material, you bring the ictus closer to each other, tap, tada, tada, and back to the focal conducting for the second big unison D on the rest of the orchestra who didn't play before. So these are the three concepts that I suggest to apply here, because this is that Beethoven says. And the question is, after the first D, will you have a break or not? How will you decide it? Let's see how the big conductors were doing it, very successful conductors, how they approached this short excerpt that Beethoven very clearly stated how to do. Here's the first example with Karajan. Let's see how he is presenting, performing this music for us. I think we could see very clearly when what he did. We could notice that his vocal conducting was very clear. All the musicians could see his hand in the center of his body very clearly when the downbeats are. You could also see that he adjusted the horizontal lane for the woodwind quartet, and his conducting box became smaller and became very horizontal. The vertical conducting was not that clear, but the musicians did the job. And after the sforzatos were kind of ignored, that we might ask whether why he did that way. Just let's take a look at that one more time and let's see what happened there exactly, and try to follow these concepts that I just mentioned for you. Here we are. He gave a very clear new preparation beat for the new material and showed the direction of it, but the character was missing. Very nice vocal conducting downbeat. You notice that because the timbre transfer to the strings, he turns to the left and brings the horizontal lay lower to the eyes of the sitting musicians and goes to the horizontal conducting technique. Sforzato was missing. Sforzato was missing. He was shaking his elbow, but this is not Sforzato. The left side of the group can't see that. Now it was there at the end when we got to the B flat major. Very good. Let's see another conductor, how he presents Beethoven's music. And here we are with the next our conductor, Barenboim. Let's see how he is doing. Keep these all factors that I mentioned for you in mind when you watch him, and try to remember what concepts I suggested with the horizontal, the vertical, and the focal conducting. Here we are. Excellent. We could learn a lot from his conducting. We could see that he knows the score very well. He knew what he was doing, and he applied all the three techniques that I was talking about: focal conducting, horizontal conducting, and vertical conducting. When at the beginning the downbeat was very focal, all the musicians could see that. After, when we went to the quartet, the chamber music, he used even only his right hand in a small tiny box to show that there is a huge contrast dynamically and also a contrasting articulation. And he did very clearly. And when the staccato material came in, the vertical conducting, he gave a very clear preparation beat for that and showed the direction when does it lead to back to focal conducting, giving the very heavy downbeat. After, when we got to the very clear up moving modulations, he showed the sforzatos very clearly on the downbeats because they are extremely important. Just let's take a look at one more time of that, and keep in your mind these all requests, and also observe how straight his body is at the beginning. No any extra movement that might slow down the tempo. Just a little bit more back. You might also notice that he was bringing the horizontal lane up to the eyes of the sitting double reed instruments and smaller box and different characteristics. Three factors changed in a second from the very heavy focal downbeat. Have you noticed here is the new the character that he just gave the preparation beat for the vertical conducting, and shows the direction of the melody. Have you noticed the sforzato, how important it is for him and how clearly he shows it? Let's do one, let's see one more time. Yeah. Have you noticed that both of them focused on the establishment of the tempo, the playability of the 30 seconds? So before you start the note, you have to have that concept in your mind. And the three concepts: focal conducting, horizontal conducting, vertical conducting. And both of them demonstrated on their way how they approach the music. I hope this was a useful explanation of the conductor's job in terms of technique, and I hope that you learn from that. And if you have any more questions, just don't hesitate to contact me, and you will get a little more out of my Hungarian accent. And I wish you all a wonderful day, and love music such as I do even more every day, because music makes people better, and the lives of people also is getting better. Thanks a lot, and hope to talk to you soon.